Hello, dear students. Today I'll be starting a new lesson in physics, that is force and pressure. So, before starting this lesson, let us refresh your previous knowledge from 7th standard. Okay. Uh, do you know what is rest and what is motion? How those two are related? Okay, let me explain what is rest. So, if an object doesn't changes its position, you take any object, if that object do not changes its position with respect to time or its surroundings, we call that object is at rest. So you know what is rest now. If the object doesn't changes its position with respect to time or surroundings, we call the object is at rest. Similarly, if the object changes its position with respect to time or its surroundings, we call that the object is in motion. Understood? So object, if the object does not changes its position with respect to time and its surroundings, we call it as the object is at rest. If it changes its position with respect to time and its surroundings, we call the object is in motion. So let us now understand what is a physical quantity. Physical quantity means anything which you can measure, we call it as physical quantity. So anything which you can measure, we call it as physical quantity. So for example, when you go to a shop, you will purchase sugar, okay, of 20 kg. This 20 is a numerical value and kg is SI unit of mass. So together this 20 kg is the unit, it is the measurement. Okay, so anything which you can measure, we call it as physical quantity. For example, you can measure distance, in terms of kilometers or meters or centimeters. So this distance is also a physical quantity. Temperature you can measure, so temperature is also a physical quantity. Volume you can measure, so volume is a physical quantity. Speed you can measure, so speed is also a physical quantity. So any quantity, like anything which you can measure, we call it as a physical quantity. Okay, so now you have the idea about rest, motion and physical quantity. In physical quantity, you will be studying about scalars and vectors. Okay, scalar quantity and vector quantity. So what is a scalar quantity or what is a vector quantity? Okay, so first we will discuss about scalar quantity. So in scalar quantity, so this is the reason why I explained physical quantity. Physical quantity means anything which you can measure, we call it as physical quantity. You take any physical quantity, it will have its magnitude, that means size. I said you will purchase 20 kg of sugar, so this 20 is magnitude and kg is its unit. So any physical quantity you take, it will have its size or magnitude and also its SI unit. Okay, so now coming to scalar quantity. So what is a scalar quantity? Any physical quantity, any physical quantity which is having only magnitude but no direction. So this kind of quantities we call it as scalar quantities. So let me give some examples for scalar quantity. So example for scalar quantity is mass. Okay, you can take mass as an example for the scalar quantity. What is scalar quantity? Any physical quantity which is having only magnitude. Magnitude means what? Magnitude means a numerical value or size. Okay, but the scalar quantity will not have its direction. Okay, any physical quantity which is having only magnitude but no direction, such type of physical quantities we call it as scalar quantities. I said example as mass. So how mass is an example for scalar quantity? Okay, so for example, you have taken 20 kg of sugar. Okay, this 20 kg is not having any direction. It is, this 20 is numerical value and kg is its unit. So together these two we call it as magnitude. So mass is having only magnitude but no direction. Let me give one example for direction also. Okay, you take force as an example. Okay, force, SI unit of force is Newton. Okay, I will talk about that later. Like you are applying 20 Newton of force. So force is applied in one specific direction and when you apply force, you will apply some magnitude, like you have to apply some force. So force is a having both magnitude as well as direction. So when a physical quantity is having both magnitude as well as direction, such type of physical quantities we call them as vector quantities. So now you know force is a vector quantity, it is not a scalar quantity, because force will have both magnitude as well as direction. So when you apply certain force, for example, I am pushing a car. Okay, when I am pushing a car, I need to apply some force. That force I will take it as 20 Newton. So 20 is numerical value, Newton is the SI unit of force. So 20 Newton is the applied force, and the force is applied in one specific direction. So direction also will come into picture in force. So that is why any physical quantities which is having both magnitude as well as direction, such type of physical quantities we call it as vector quantities. I hope you know now what is rest, what is motion, what is a physical quantity, what is scalar quantity, and what is vector quantity. Let me recap once again. So rest, an object which does not change its position with respect to time or surroundings, we call it as rest. If the object changes its position with respect to time or surroundings, we call it as motion. So anything we can measure, we call it as physical quantity. And physical quantities will have two things. One is it will have magnitude, and it will have SI unit. Example for physical quantities: mass, temperature, velocity, acceleration. These are the example for physical quantity. Now scalar quantity and vector quantity. Scalar quantity means any physical quantity which is having only magnitude but no direction, we call it as scalar quantity. Vector quantity means any physical quantity which is having both magnitude as well as direction, we call it as vector quantity. So example for scalar quantities: mass, length, area, temperature, volume. These are all the example for scalar quantity. Why these are all the example for scalar quantity? Temperature, like you can take 20 degree. Okay, 20 degree Celsius is just the temperature, but you cannot give the direction for temperature. Okay. So take area, you can measure 2700 square feet. Okay, 2700 square feet is just the magnitude, but it will not have any direction. Okay, so that is why these are all the example for scalar quantity. Let me give few more example for vector quantity. So a vector quantity, it will have both magnitude as well as direction. So for a vector quantity, I can say force is a vector quantity because it is having both magnitude as well as direction. I can say acceleration is a vector quantity because it is having both magnitude as well as direction. I can say velocity is also a vector quantity. So because velocity comes with magnitude as well as direction. So you will understand as I go further in this chapter, you will understand clearly about these topics. So let me start the chapter force. So what is force? So what are all the effects under force? So like what are all the different kinds of forces? So we will be discussing about contact forces and non-contact forces. In contact forces, what are the types? In non-contact forces, what are the types? So these are my today's topic. So let me start with the force. Okay. So you can see from the picture, like force. Force is a push or a pull of an object. So push or pull of an object, we call it as force. When you push, we call it as force. When you pull, we call it as force. Like you are applying some force for pushing an object, you are applying some force for pulling an object. So push or pull of an object, we call it as force. Okay, so I discussed about rest and motion. So in the second point, it will be very useful. Like it changes. What changes? Force changes or tends to change the state of rest or the state of motion of an object by a push or pull. So you can see the second line, that is, it changes or tends to change the state of rest or the state of motion of an object by a push or pull. So what does it mean? It changes the state of rest means, so if you can see from the diagram, there is a car. So when you push, push or pull the car, what happens? It will not be in the same position. That means it will not be at rest. So what is rest? If an object changes its position with respect to time or with respect to surroundings, we call it as rest, right? So when you push or pull, that means when you are applying force, what happens? It changes or tends to change the state of rest. Okay, so this is the first point. In the second, they have mentioned the state of motion of an object. For example, you are riding a bicycle, so some other person comes and hit you, what happens? It will change the state of motion. Like you can change, you may change the direction of cycle, or you may change the speed of the cycle. So this is what it states, that the force can change or tends to change the state of rest or the state of motion of an object by a push or pull. So let us see the third point. It cannot be seen, but its effects can be seen or felt. So that means you cannot see the force, but you can see the effects of force and you can feel the force. Okay, so let us go for the fourth point. It is caused by interaction, and an interaction is the main thing with respect to force. Like it is caused by an interaction of one object with other object produces a force between two objects. Without interaction, are there any force? Let us see in further, we will be discussing about types of forces. We will see different kinds of forces, like with interaction, without interaction. So in the fourth point, what they are saying, so force is caused due to the interaction. So it is caused by an interaction. An interaction is one object, an interaction of one object with other object produces a force between two objects. Okay, is it clear? So the force acting on an object is same, the force acting on an object in the same direction add to each other. So let me give an example. Like what they are saying, the force acting on an object in the same direction add to each other. So for example, you and your friends are pushing a car. Okay, you are applying force F1 and your friend is applying force F2. So when you push a car in the same direction, the net force, you can call it as F net. So the net force acting on the car will be due the sum of your force and your friend's force. Your force is F1 and your friend force is F2. So the net force acting on the car will be F net will be equal to F1 plus F2. So this is what they are saying. The force acting on the object in the same direction add to each other. So what about the force acting on the object in different direction, like opposite direction? So let us see the next point. If the force acting on an object are in opposite direction, then the net force acting on it is the difference between the two forces. So same thing, like you are applying force F1 in one direction, your friend is applying F2 in the opposite direction of your direction, then the net force acting on the car will be equal to, that is F net will be equal to F1 minus F2. So force will difference each other. Okay, so next, the strength of force is called its magnitude. So magnitude means a numerical value, how much force you are applying. For example, you are applying 20 Newton and your friend is applying 10 Newton. Okay, so let me give an example afterwards. So the SI unit of force is Newton. So remember, the SI unit of force is Newton. So let me go back to the previous one. The strength of force is called its magnitude. So magnitude means a numerical value, like you are applying 20 Newton and your friend is applying 10 Newton. Okay, if you are applying 10 Newton in the same direction and your friend is applying 20 Newton in the same direction, then the net force acting on the object or car will be 30 Newton. Clear? So because the forces acting in the same direction or applied in the same direction will be the sum of the total forces, they will add up. Okay, so if you are applying 20 Newton in one direction and your friend is applying 10 Newton in from the opposite direction, then what happens to the force? They will subtract. Okay, that means the net force will become F2 minus F1, or it is 20 minus 10. So what happens to the net force? The net force will be equal to 10 Newton. The total force acting on the car will be only 10 Newton. So they are saying the SI unit of force is Newton. Okay, so the in SI system, what is SI? Okay, it is international system of units. So again, SI system of units, like international system of unit, is divided into three. Okay, one is CGS system, second one is MKS, and third one is FPS. Okay, what is CGS? CGS, what is MKS, what is FPS? So CGS stands for centimeter, gram, and second. Centimeter, that is distance is measured in centimeters, and mass is measured in grams, and S, that is time is measured in seconds. In case of CGS system, like distance is measured in centimeters, mass is measured in grams, time is measured in seconds. So the next one is MKS system. MK means here also distance measured in meters. Okay, mass is measured in kgs, like kilogram. Okay, time is measured in seconds. Next one is FPS. Here distance is measured in foot, mass is measured in pound, and time is measured in second. Okay, so in all the three system, time is measured in seconds only, whereas distance and mass varies. Okay, so these are the three other systems of units. So in CGS system, the SI unit of force is dyne. Okay, DYNE. Okay, dyne is the SI unit of force in CGS system. In MK system, it is kg meter per second square. So in MK system, the SI unit of force is kg meter per second square. In FPS system, it is poundal. Okay, POUNDAL. Poundal is the SI unit of force in FPS system. So remember the relation between Newton and dyne, like SI unit is Newton, SI unit of force is Newton. So how this Newton is related with CGS unit? Okay, so it is related like 1 Newton is equal to 10 power 5 dynes. Okay, 1 Newton is equal to 10 power 5 dynes. So this is the relation between force in SI system and CGS system, that is 1 Newton is equal to 10 power 5 dynes. So this we will be using in some problems in future. Okay, so let us see what are the effects of force. Okay, so effect in the sense what all force can change, what are the effects of force. Okay, so first one, a force can change the state of motion of an object. So what is state of motion of an object? Either it may be at rest, or when the object is moving, how the force can affect the object. Okay, so see here, in the first point, the force can change the state of motion of an object. So in first point, a force can change speed as well as direction of the object. So applying force can change the speed as well as direction of the object. So for example, you are going in a bicycle, so from behind some car will come and hit you. So what happens to your speed? Your speed will increase. This speed will increase due to the application of force from behind. So if you are already moving, still somebody apply force on you, what happens? Your speed will increase. Also your speed can be decreased depending on the application of force, which side they are applying the force. And it also can change the direction of force. Like you are moving in a straight road, from the left side if somebody comes and hit you, what happens? The direction of you will change. So we can conclude that the force can change the speed as well as the direction of an object. If the force is applied in the direction of the motion, then the speed of the object increases. If the force is applied opposite to the direction of the motion, then the speed of the object will decrease. For example, you take an example, take a ball. Okay, roll the ball on the ground. So when you roll it, so hit the ball in the same direction, what happens? Speed of the ball will increase. Okay, so roll the ball again, so hit the ball like, or stop the ball in the opposite direction, what happens? The speed of the ball decreases. There are many examples I can give, but just understand these statements. So first point is force can change the speed as well as the direction of the object. The second point is if the force is applied in the same direction, what happens? the total force will add up, so speed of the object increases. If the force is acted or applied in the opposite direction, what happens? The speed of the object decreases because the force will difference, like it subtracts. Okay, the second point, a force can change shape and size of the object. So how a force can change the shape and size of the object? A force can change shape of an object, it can change size of an object, it can change both shape and size of an object. So let me give few examples. So you take an example of stretch a rubber. Okay, so when you stretch a rubber, you can see size of the rubber changes as well as shape of the rubber changes. Or take clay, clay. So take the clay, apply force on it, what happens? What you can see? You can see the shape of the clay changes as well as size of the clay also changes. Or apply force on the balloon. Okay, it, you can see that size and shape of the balloon will change. These are the example for a force can change the shape of object. Okay, so these two are very important, so know these two. The first one is force can change the state of motion of an object, and the second one is force can change the shape and size of the object. And in the first case, the force can change the speed as well as the direction of the object. And when it can change speed, in what condition speed will increase, in what condition speed will decrease. When the force is applied in the same direction as the object, speed will increase. When the force is applied opposite to the direction of the object, what happens? Speed will decrease. And in the second case, force can change size and shape of the object. Remember these are the effects of force. So next we will move on to the types of forces. Okay, so in types of forces, you will be coming across contact forces and non-contact forces. In contact forces, you will be you can see from the diagram, one is muscular force, another one is frictional force. In non-contact force, you can see there are three. One is magnetic force, second one is electrostatic force, third one is gravitational force. So we will discuss what is contact force first. Okay, so you can see from the diagram, in contact force there are two, one is muscular and one more is frictional force. So what is contact force? See from the picture, a force which can cause or change the motion of an object by physical touching is called a contact force. So when you touch it physically, when you touch anything physically, so if, like for example, if you lift a bucket, so you are lifting a bucket, so while lifting a bucket you should come in contact with the bucket. Okay, so this kind of force we call it as contact force. A force which can cause or change the motion of an object by physical touching is called a contact force. So there are two types of contact force. The first one is muscular force. Let us see what is muscular force. The force caused by the action of muscles. So with the action of muscles, whatever the force it causes, that kind of forces we call it as muscular forces. So what is muscular force? Muscular force is the force caused by the action of muscles. Okay, so activities such as bending, movement, breathing and digestion of food involves muscular force. The point where the force is applied on the object is called the point of contact. So let me give one example for point of contact. Like you are lifting a bucket, so you are holding the handle of the bucket with your hands. Okay, so that is what we call, that is that point what you are holding, like handle of the bucket and your hand, that point we call it as point of contact. And one more example I can give is, you are lifting water from well. Okay, so you are holding rope. Okay, so that is what, that rope and your handling point, that point we call it as point of contact. Okay, so in the contact force, the next one is the frictional force. So usually frictional force is the opposing force which opposes the motion. Okay, or which opposes the state of motion. Okay, the relative motion between two surfaces causes frictional force. Let's see what they have given. The force responsible for changing the state of motion of an object we call it as friction. So this is the force which is responsible for changing the state of motion of an object. If the object is moving with some force, if that state changes, so that kind of force we call it as frictional force. That means it is opposing the motion. So opposing motion, and it is due to the relative motion between, or relative touch between the two surfaces. Okay. uh, so this is what we call it as frictional force. Example for frictional force: you walk because of frictional force. So during your walk, you will apply force on the ground in the opposite direction, right? So because of friction you can walk, because of friction you can skate, because of friction you can run. Without friction force you cannot even stand also, because you will slip. Okay, so you will be studying about friction in the next chapter, friction, in detail. Okay, so just here know the definition, and just know some applications of frictional forces. Okay, so we will move on to the second point. It always acts on all moving objects in the direction opposite to the motion. So this is what I said. So whichever direction you move the object, so for the object motion it opposes. That means you are applying force in straight direction. Like if you are applying force in one direction, the frictional force is always opposite to the applied force. Okay, remember, the frictional force always opposes your applied direction. Like you are applying force in one direction, then the frictional force will be opposite to the applied direction. Okay, applied force. Okay, it arises due to the contact between two surfaces. So as I already said you, because of two surfaces in contact, frictional force will arise. If these surfaces are rough, then there is more friction. If the surface of contact between the two objects is rough, then the frictional force will be more. If the surface of contact between the two object is less, that means it is smooth or polished, then the frictional force will be very less. Like you can reduce the friction by smoothening or polishing the surface. For example, if you might have seen the floor, when you pour oil on the floor, if you try to walk you will slip, so because of less friction. So friction can be increased by increasing the surface roughness, and by increasing the surface smoothness you can reduce the friction. So these are the types of contact forces. One is muscular force, another one is frictional force. So muscular force is the force, action of muscles causes the muscular force, whereas frictional force is due to the opposition of motion between the two surfaces will cause friction. So friction can be increased by increasing the roughness, and friction can be decreased by increasing the smoothness. Okay, so next comes non-contact forces. So in non-contact forces, there are three types. One is magnetic force, and one more is electrostatic force, and last one is gravitational force. Okay, so these forces act at a distance without any physical contact. So contact force will have physical contact, whereas non-contact force will not have any physical contact. So these force acts at a distance without any physical contact. Let's see how. So types of non-contact force, in that first one is magnetic force. You know, you have seen magnet and you tried to play with the magnet. So let's see how it works. Okay, the force exerted by a magnet is known as magnetic force. What is magnetic force? The force exerted by the magnet, we call it as magnetic force. Okay, so there is an attraction or repulsion between the poles of magnet. You might have seen. So when you bring one pole of the magnet, that is north pole and north pole, near each other, near to the magnet, what happens? They will repel. Without any contact they will repel. So this kind of force we call it as magnetic force. If you bring north and south near each other, what happens? They will get attracted. So this kind of force we call it as non-contact. So that is why magnetic force comes under non-contact force. So let me read the third one. Like poles of two magnets repel each other, and unlike poles attract each other. So this is about magnetic force. A magnet can exert force on another magnet without being in contact with it, hence it is known as non-contact force. So in magnetic force, remember these 4 points. The force exerted by the magnet is known as magnetic force. There is attraction or repulsion between the poles of the magnet. Like poles of two magnets repel each other and unlike poles attract each other. A magnet can attract force on other magnet without being in contact with it. That's why magnetic force is a non-contact force. So next comes electrostatic force. Okay. uh, so the force exerted by a charged body on another charged body or uncharged body is known as electrostatic force. So for example, you might have played with the pen, okay, like rubbing your hairs and trying to attract paper pieces. So this is what comes with the electrostatic force. So it enables the charged substance to attract neutral substances. So when you rub the pen with your hair, what happens? The pen will get charged. So paper pieces will have a neutral, okay, it is neutral charges. It will have both positive charges as well as negative charges. So if your pen is completely charged with negative charges, it will try to attract positive charges. So this is why what happens, your pen will attract the paper pieces. So example, a small pieces of paper attracted to a balloon. So here they have taken an example of balloon and pieces of paper. So this is also a good example. Next is the substance with unlike charges attract each other and those with like charges repel each other. So this is what I said. If your pen is negative charge, so it will attract positive charged particles. If your pen is positively charged, it will attract negatively charged particles. So this is about electrostatic force. So I will repeat it once again. The force exerted by a charged body on another charged body or uncharged body. The force exerted by the charged body on another charged body or uncharged body is known as electrostatic force. That means if your object is positively charged, it will exert a force on negatively charged body or uncharged body, or you can say it as neutral body. It will have both positive charges as well as negative charges. So it enables the charged substance to attract neutral substance, right? So if your object is positively charged, so some other object is negatively charged, it will directly attract. Or if your object is positively charged, if some other object is neutral means it will have both. So when you bring the positively charged object near the neutral object, what happens? It will, all the negative charges will come one side. So then also you can see the attraction between the two objects. So this is also a non-contact force. That is why we call electrostatic force as non-contact force. So example is a small piece of paper attracted to a balloon. Substance with unlike charges attract each other and substance with like charges repel each other. Just like magnetic force, here also like charges repel each other and unlike charges attract each other. So the last concept of today's class is gravitational force. You might have heard, like when you throw a ball up, the ball will fall towards the earth. Why? Because of gravitational force. So let's see what they have given. Okay, the attraction of object towards the earth is known as force of gravity. The attraction of objects, any objects you take in the universe, okay, all will undergo gravitation. Okay, so the attraction of object towards the earth is known as force of gravity. Okay, so this force acts on all objects in the universe. So that is why gravitational force is a universal force. We call it as, it is accepted universally. Okay, so every object in the universe, whether small or large, exerts force on every other object. Okay, you can take any object in the universe, it will undergo gravitation. Okay, so let me explain few examples of gravitational force. Like you are all bound to earth due to the gravitational force. Rainfall is due to gravitational force. Snowfall is due to gravitational force. You can see the atmosphere. This atmosphere also is bound to earth because of gravitational pull of the earth. Okay, so all the people, like all the human being, all the tree, all the animals, they are always attracted towards the center of the earth because of gravitational pull of the earth. and you can see the planet revolves around the sun. So all the planets revolve around the sun. This is also due to gravitational force. And moon, motion of moon, the circular motion of moon around the earth, this is also due to gravitational force. Okay, so with what force we will get attracted towards the earth? Okay, so there is the value of gravity is, that is g value, the small g value is found out to be 9.8 meter per second square. So value of g is 9.8 meter per second square. So remember this value we will be using in the problems. And what is the value of acceleration due to gravity at the center of earth? So it is 0. So acceleration due to gravity at the center of the earth is 0, and on the earth is 9.8 meter per second square. Okay, so this ends today's topic. Thank you all.